Do you have pain that doctors can't explain? Have you been from appointment to appointment, test after test, and yet that pain persists like a shadow that refuses to leave? If you're here, it's because your body is screaming something that your mind hasn't been able to decipher yet. And no, you're not crazy, you're not imagining anything. Your pain is real, but maybe it's not what you think it is. Today I want to talk to you about something that few people dare to mention out loud. That there's a type of pain that doesn't show up on X-rays, that can't be detected in blood tests, that has no name in medical textbooks, but that might be tearing you apart from the inside. It's the pain of the soul manifesting in your physical body, because the body and spirit aren't two separate entities, but one unified system that vibrates in harmony. Your soul is trying to tell you something, and if you stay with me until the end of this message, you'll discover exactly what it's whispering to you through every ache, every discomfort, every strange sensation you experience. But before we continue, if this topic resonates with you, if you feel like someone is finally speaking your language, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, because here you'll find more content that can transform the way you understand pain and, most importantly, how to heal it from its true source. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that your pain gets worse during certain emotional moments, that it appears right when you're going through major changes in your life, that it intensifies when you suppress what you really feel? It's not a coincidence. Your body is much wiser than you imagine, and it's functioning exactly as it should, as your soul's last resort to get your attention. In traditional Chinese medicine, there's a concept called qi, the vital energy that flows through our body. When this energy gets blocked, disease appears. In Ayurveda, they speak of nadis, energetic channels that, when obstructed, generate physical imbalances. Ancient shamans always knew that the body is the mirror of the soul, and figures like Louise Hay taught us that every physical symptom has a deep emotional message. But Western medicine, in its quest to categorize and medicate, often forgets that we are multidimensional beings. It treats the symptom, but not the subtle cause. It medicates the pain, but doesn't listen to its message. And so, millions of people like you wander from appointment to appointment, feeling misunderstood, questioning their own sanity, when what they really need is someone to tell them, your pain makes sense. Your pain has a story. And your pain can be the beginning of your deepest healing. What I'm about to share with you now can completely change your perspective on what you're experiencing. There are 5 types of misunderstood pains that are extraordinarily common, and each one carries a specific message from your soul. If you recognize yourself in any of them, let me know in the comments, because creating this community of people who understand each other is fundamental to the healing process. The first is chest pain without identified cardiac causes. You arrive at the hospital convinced you're having a heart attack, but all the tests come back normal. They tell you it's anxiety, but you know it's something deeper. This pain is directly related to your heart chakra, that energetic center that governs your ability to love and be loved. When you feel like you've lost the meaning of life, when your self-esteem is rock bottom, when you've suppressed such deep sadness that you don't even know how to express it, your energetic heart contracts, and that contraction manifests as physical pressure in your chest. But here's what's fascinating. This pain can also appear when your spiritual heart is expanding, when you're breaking free from old emotional patterns that no longer serve you. It's as if your soul is stretching muscles that have been dormant for years. Heart pain can be both a cry for help and a sign of awakening. The second type of pain is those chronic aches in your spine and shoulders, that tension that won't go away even with massages or muscle relaxants. Your back is literally the support of your life, and when it hurts inexplicably, it's reflecting the emotional and spiritual weight you're carrying. Maybe you're living the life others expect of you instead of your own. Maybe you're taking on the emotions and problems of your entire family. Maybe you've become everyone's pillar, but no one is yours. The spine, in energetic terms, is our central axis, our channel of connection between earth and sky, between the material and the spiritual. When it's overloaded, When it can't flow freely, it manifests as physical pain. Your soul is asking you to free yourself from burdens that don't belong to you, to learn to say no, to recover your own center. The third type of pain is that extreme fatigue that isn't relieved by rest. You sleep 8, 9, 10 hours and still wake up exhausted. Doctors tell you your energy levels are normal, but you feel like you're dragging an invisible mountain. This is one of the most misunderstood symptoms of spiritual transformation. Your energy is changing frequency. Your soul is mutating to a new level of consciousness, and your body needs time to adapt. Think of it like an electronic device that needs to update its operating system. During the update process, the system runs slower, consumes more energy until it finally stabilizes in the new version. Your soul is experiencing exactly the same thing. This extreme fatigue usually appears during important transitions, the end of significant relationships, profound losses, changes in life purpose, awakening of new intuitive abilities. The fourth type of pain is those headaches or that pressure in your forehead that appears for no apparent reason. It's not a migraine. It's not muscle tension. It's like something is pressing from inside out in your forehead area. This symptom is intimately related to your third eye, your frontal chakra, that energetic center that governs your intuition and your ability to see beyond the obvious. When you suppress your intuition, when you ignore the signals your soul sends you, when you live completely disconnected from your inner wisdom, this energetic center gets congested. But it can also appear when your intuitive capacity is expanding, when you're beginning to perceive more subtle realities, when your soul is preparing you to access deeper levels of understanding. And the fifth type of pain, perhaps the most distressing of all, is that sensation of a lump in your throat, accompanied by the urge to cry for no apparent reason. You're at the grocery store buying milk, and suddenly you feel your throat closing up. You're watching a movie, and something seemingly insignificant makes you want to cry uncontrollably. Your throat is your soul's channel of expression, and when it's blocked, when there are things you need to say but don't dare, when your truth is being suppressed by fear or family patterns, it manifests as physical constriction. This symptom usually appears when your soul is ready to express its true purpose, when you've been silencing your authentic voice for too long, when you have important revelations that need to be communicated to the world. It's your spirit pushing you toward authenticity. Now, if you're wondering why traditional medicine can't give you answers about these pains, the explanation is simple. We're facing a medical paradigm that still separates body from mind and spirit. It treats symptoms as isolated entities without considering that we are multidimensional beings where the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual are intimately interconnected. Western medicine is extraordinary for emergencies, for surgeries, for clearly identifiable pathologies, but it has important limitations when it comes to pains that speak the language of the soul. Because the soul has a different time than the body, a different rhythm, a symbolic language that isn't always easy to translate into conventional medical terms. When your soul is experiencing a profound transformation, when it's processing generational patterns, when it's integrating new levels of consciousness, it can manifest physical symptoms that don't have a direct correlation with a specific pathology, but that are absolutely real and valid. And here comes the fundamental question. What do you do when you discover that your pain is spiritual? First and most importantly, don't judge yourself. Don't blame yourself for feeling this. Don't label yourself as weak or sick. Your sensitivity to spiritual processes isn't a pathology, it's a capacity. Your body isn't defective. It's functioning exactly as an integrated body-soul system should function. Silence and introspection become fundamental. You need to create spaces of stillness where you can really listen to what your body is communicating to you. Meditation, conscious breathing, intuitive writing are powerful tools for establishing that internal dialogue between your conscious mind and your soul's wisdom. Seeking spiritual guidance, not necessarily religious but energetic and therapeutic, can be transformative. Integrative therapies like family constellation work, which addresses unconscious generational patterns, Reiki, which balances your energetic system, body psychotherapy, which integrates body and emotion, bioenergetics, which releases deep tensions stored in your nervous system. But beyond techniques and therapies, the most important thing is that you change your relationship with pain. Instead of seeing it as an enemy to be eliminated, begin to perceive it as a messenger bringing valuable information about your spiritual evolution process. If you've been consistent up to this point in the video, it's because something deep in you recognizes the truth of what I'm sharing. I invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because we'll continue exploring these topics that can transform your life in ways you can't even imagine. Your pain has a story, a genealogy, an evolutionary purpose. Maybe it's not trying to destroy you, but to reconstruct you from a more authentic and expanded version of who you really are. Every inexplicable discomfort might be your soul pushing you toward a version of yourself that's waiting to emerge. Think for a moment about butterflies. Before transforming, caterpillars go through a process called metamorphosis, where they literally dissolve inside the cocoon. Their physical structure completely breaks down before reorganizing into a completely new form. For the caterpillar, that process must feel like death, like dissolution, like inexplicable pain. But in reality, it's the process of becoming what it was always destined to be. Your soul might be going through a similar process. Those inexplicable pains, those discomforts that have no medical diagnosis, might be signals that your old emotional and spiritual structure is dissolving to make way for an expanded version of your consciousness. You're not sick, you're transforming, you're not broken. You're reconstructing yourself, you're not crazy. You're awakening to dimensions of yourself that had been dormant. Every human being carries within themselves a potential for consciousness that goes far beyond what most of us dare to recognize. And sometimes the only way that potential can emerge is by breaking the limiting structures we've built around ourselves. Misunderstood pain might be exactly that force of rupture and transformation. Your body is infinitely wiser than your rational mind can comprehend. It has been registering not only your personal experiences, but also ancestral patterns, collective memories, information that your awakened consciousness cannot yet process completely. When that information is ready to be integrated and transformed, it can manifest as physical symptoms that defy conventional explanations. It's possible that you're experiencing what mystics from all traditions have described for millennia, the process of spiritual awakening. It's not something that only happens in monasteries or spiritual retreats. It can happen in your living room, in your office, in the middle of your apparently ordinary life. And when it happens, your body registers every change, every expansion, every release of old patterns. Ancestral medicine always understood that healing means integrating, not separating. It means harmonizing all dimensions of the human being, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. In that integral vision, a pain without medical explanation isn't an unsolvable mystery, but an invitation to explore deeper layers of your experience of being human. If while listening to this you feel that something resonates deeply with you, if you feel that finally someone is talking about what you really experience, let me know in the comments. Tell me which of these 5 pains you've experienced, or if there's any other inexplicable symptom you've lived through. Creating this community of people who understand each other is a fundamental part of the healing process. Because healing isn't just an individual process, it's also collective. When you share your experience, when you name it, when you take it out of silence and shame, you not only free yourself, but you give permission to others to free themselves too. Your vulnerability becomes medicine for others who are going through similar processes. And here I want to make an important clarification. Recognizing that your pain might have a spiritual origin doesn't mean you should ignore conventional medicine. It means you can integrate both perspectives. You can seek medical attention to rule out serious pathologies and simultaneously explore the more subtle dimensions of your experience. True integral healing doesn't exclude anything. It includes all available tools: medical, psychological, energetic, spiritual. Your well-being is too valuable to limit it to just one perspective, no matter how valid it may be. What you're experiencing might be exactly what you need to evolve toward the next version of yourself. That version that doesn't settle for living on autopilot, that doesn't accept a mediocre life, that's willing to question everything it thought it knew about itself to access its true potential. Your soul knows your purpose much better than your conscious mind. And sometimes the only way it can guide you toward that purpose is through experiences that force you to stop, to listen, to search for answers in places you've never looked before. Every inexplicable pain might be a door that's opening toward a deeper understanding of who you really are. Every undiagnosed discomfort might be your spirit pushing you toward conversations you need to have, toward decisions you've been postponing, toward changes you know you need to make but have been avoiding out of fear. Fear is understandable. Transforming is scary because it implies letting go of who you thought you were to become who you can really be. It implies questioning beliefs that have been with you for decades. It sometimes implies distancing yourself from people, situations, or patterns that no longer resonate with your new energetic frequency. But on the other side of that fear is your authenticity. On the other side of that uncertainty is your true power. On the other side of that pain is your freedom. I want you to know that you're not alone in this. Thousands of people are experiencing similar processes. Humanity is going through a moment of collective transformation, and many sensitive individuals are feeling those changes first in their own bodies. Your sensitivity isn't a curse, it's a gift. Your ability to feel what others can't feel, to perceive what others can't perceive, to register subtle information in your body that most people overlook, is an extraordinary capacity. In ancestral cultures, people like you were considered bridges between worlds, healers, shamans, oracles. They had important roles in their communities because they could access information that wasn't available through the ordinary five senses. In our modern culture, those capacities are often pathologized or ignored. But that doesn't mean they're not real or valuable. It means we're living in a culture that has lost touch with the more subtle dimensions of human experience. Your pain might be exactly the call you need to reconnect with those dimensions. To remember that you are much more than your physical body, much more than your rational mind, much more than the roles you play in the world. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, as Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said. And sometimes that human experience includes transformation processes that challenge everything you thought you knew about reality. If you've made it this far in this message, it's because something in your soul recognizes the truth of what I'm sharing. It's because you're ready to consider possibilities that go beyond what you learned in school, beyond what your parents told you, beyond what society considers normal. And that readiness is in itself a sign that your awakening process is underway. It's not something you can force or accelerate. It's something that happens in its own time, with its own rhythm, according to your soul's wisdom. Your only responsibility is to stay open, stay curious, stay willing to explore new possibilities for understanding and healing. Everything else unfolds naturally when you stop resisting and begin collaborating with the process. Remember, your pain has a story, but that story doesn't end in suffering. It ends in liberation. It ends in expansion. It ends in a version of yourself that you can't even imagine from where you are now. Every pain of the soul comes to liberate something that was trapped inside you, something that needed to be expressed, integrated, healed, or transformed. It's not a punishment, it's an invitation to live more authentically, more consciously, more fully. And when you finally accept that invitation, when you stop fighting the process and begin collaborating with it, something magical happens. The pain begins to transform into wisdom, confusion into clarity, fear into personal power. Your soul knows exactly what it's doing. Trust the process. Trust your inner wisdom. Trust that everything you're experiencing has a greater purpose than your conscious mind can understand at this moment. If this message has touched something deep in you, If you feel that finally someone understands what you've been experiencing, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your experience in the comments. Because when we share our stories, when we take them out of silence, we not only heal ourselves, but we create bridges of understanding and compassion that heal the entire community. Your story matters. Your pain matters. Your transformation process matters. And there are people who need to hear exactly what you have to share. Don't underestimate the healing power of your vulnerability when it's expressed from a place of authenticity and love.